today we will take the class on the excretory system of prawn. Okay, so when we had the course in the last semester. Last semester we have studied the anatomy of most of the systems of shellfishes. Okay, so we had taken the anatomy of all the systems of shellfishes. Okay, in the prawn, we haven't taken the excretory system of the shellfishes because that was not the part of the syllabus. Okay, so first, before discussing the physiology, before discussing the mechanism of the excretion in the prawn, first we have to take the anatomy. Okay, so first we will discuss the anatomy of the excretory system of some of the shellfishes today. So today we will take two examples, one from the crustacea and one from the mollusca. Okay, so in the crustacea we will see the excretory system of prawn, and in mollusca we will see the excretory system of apple snail or Pila globosa. Okay, so first we will discuss about the excretory system of prawn. Okay, so in the excretory system of prawn, as I have discussed, we will first take the anatomy. What are the different organs, okay, in the excretory system, and what are the function and how it performs the mechanism of excretion. Okay, so very first thing I would like to ask from any one of you, what do you mean about the excretory system? What is excretory system, or what is actually the excretion in term of biology? Anyone?
To release out the nitrogenous waste.
The release of the nitrogenous waste from the body to the
Body.
exterior environment. Okay, then why there is a need for release of the nitrogenous waste?
टॉक्सिक होता है मैम बॉडी के लिए.
Toxic. Okay, although nitrogen is a very important compound of the biomolecule, that is a protein in the body, but when it is in excess it causes toxicity. Okay, uh, uh, so the nitrogenous waste which is present inside the animal's body is whether in the form of ammonia or in the urea or uric acid, and all these nitrogenous compound, lower category nitrogenous compound, they are toxic to the organism. They cause toxicity by several mechanisms. Okay, they imbalance the physiology of the organism. That's why they needs to be excreted out from the body. So the organism, they have the specialized organ system to excrete the nitrogenous system. Okay, so this specialized organ system which function for the excretion of the nitrogenous waste is known as a excretory system or the excretory organ. So when we talk about the prawn or in crustacea in general, okay, there is basically the organ, there are four organs, okay, which all together form one system which is known as the excretory system, and this excretory system helps in the removal of the nitrogenous waste. uh, so this excretory system means it helps in the removal of the nitrogenous waste as well as in the osmoregulation. Means these organs, okay, which is listed on this slide, like the green gland, the lateral duct, the nephroperitoneal sac or the integuments, they all actually uh, perform the function of excretion as well as osmoregulation. Means they excreted out, they help in the excretion of the nitrogenous waste, and they also help in balancing the iron and the water inside the organism's body. Okay, so first the main organ of the excretion in the crustacea is the green gland, okay, and the renal sac. Okay, and the integument means the chitin covering or the exoskeleton. We will take it later. So first we will discuss the main organ, which is the green gland, the lateral duct, and the uh, renal sac. Okay, so here we'll see. So this is the excretory organ of the prawn. So here see, this is the green gland from here to here. Okay, this is the green gland. This is the two lateral line which connect the green gland with the renal sac. Okay, and these two pairs, this pair of green gland, they are also connected to each other through the transverse connective. Okay, so this green gland, it connected to the renal gland through the lateral duct, and these two renal glands, these two green glands, they are connected to each other through the transverse connective. Now first we will discuss in detail about the green gland. Okay, so why its name is a green gland? Okay, so first we will talk about green gland. They are a small pea seed size gland which is present at the base of the coxa. You remember the appendages? Okay, when we have studied the different appendages of the prawn. Okay, so there are cephalic appendages, thoracic appendages, and abdominal appendages. Okay, so if I'm talking about the cephalic appendages, there is a one appendage which is known as an antenna. Remember? Okay, so this green gland, they are present and in the coxa of the antenna. Okay, they have two antenna, okay, on both the side. So both the coxa of both the antenna have one green gland. Okay, so they are all, because they are present on the coxa of the antenna, that is why they are also known as the antennary gland. Okay, antennary gland, or they are pea size, green seed size, that's why they are also known as a green gland. So this antennary gland or the green gland is the main excretory organ of the crustacea or the prawn, and it has basically three parts: the end sac, the labyrinth, and the bladder. Okay, so we will take these three individually. So here, this is the section of the antennary gland. Okay, so this portion, this is the labyrinth, this is the end sac, and this is opens into the bladder. Okay, so here you see, this is the labyrinth, this is the end sac, and this is the bladder. Okay, so the bladder, the end sac, and the labyrinth, they all together forms the green gland. Okay, so here you see this labyrinth have a small excretory tubules, okay, which are very similar to structure and function like the nephrotic tubules or the nephron that we used to see in the vertebrates. Okay, so and here this is the ant sac. Okay, and this ant sac have the blood lacuna, so which have the blood supply, and then this is connected, this labyrinth is connected to the bladder, which is a thin single cell layered wall. Okay, which opens to the exterior, okay, or the exterior environment through a small pore which is known as the renal pore. Okay, and the small tube which is known as the ureter. Okay, so we first, so this lab, so first the blood, okay, the blood from the body which have the nitrogenous waste, it comes inside the ant sac. Okay, and ant sac actually removes the nitrogenous waste. Okay, the most of the ammonia, okay, the most of the ammonia, the nitrogenous waste in the form of ammonia is actually absorbed by, means taken from the blood by the ant sac, and then this blood goes to the labyrinth. In the labyrinth, what happened? There is they simply take the more nitrogenous waste which is present in the form of urea or uric acid, and there is also the reabsorption of the beneficial material. If suppose some of the important biomolecule which also comes by the filtration, like some of the amino acids or some of other molecules or the ions, they get reabsorbed in the labyrinth, and then it goes to the bladder. Okay, from bladder through a small tube which is known as a ureter, it, and this ureter ends through a pore to the exterior which is known as a renal pore. Okay, so this green gland, it also collects the excretory fluid, okay, from the renal sac, which is a single sac. Okay, here This is a renal sac. So this green gland, okay, so suppose the blood, okay, it takes the blood comes here, just see, the blood comes here in the end sac, the nitrogenous waste in the form of ammonia is filtrated out, and then this blood is goes inside the labyrinth. Here other more nitrogenous waste like uric acid, urea, is taken place, as well as the reabsorption of the beneficial or the essential material like some of the ions in the amino acid, and then it goes to the bladder, and this bladder have this small narrow tube which is known as a ureter, and then it opens through the renal to the exterior environment through the renal pore. And this renal sac which is lie above the cardiac stomach and below the carapace, okay, behind the brain, it is lie behind the brain, above the cardiac stomach and below the carapace. It also collects the excretory fluid which goes to the blood, which goes to the green gland, and then it get excreted out from the body. So these renal sac is connected to the green gland through the lateral duct, and these two green glands are connected together by the transfer connective. So this was basically the anatomy of the excretory system of the prawn. It has a pair of antennary or green gland, a pair of the lateral duct, and unpaired renal or nephroperitoneal sac, and the last one is the integument. Integument means the the crustacea have the process of molting. Okay, they molt, they used to shed their exoskeleton occasionally. Okay, and then the new chitinous hard exoskeleton forms. So this release this integument also get this some of the nitrogenous waste also get deposited on the inner surface of the integument, okay, or the chitinous exoskeleton. So when the animal removes the exoskeleton by the process of molting, what happens, some of the nitrogenous waste also get removed from the body. So integument have one of the additional function as a excretory. Okay, then so here we have discussed the structure of the green gland, three main reasons: the ant sac, the labyrinth, and the bladder. This is the structure of the section of the antennary gland in the prawn. Okay, then we have also seen the lateral duct, then the integument, and the nephroperitoneal sac. Now, what is the mechanism of excretion in the crustacea? Okay, so this anterior, as I have told, this antennary gland or the green gland, it extracts the nitrogenous waste and excess water from the blood like other higher vertebrates. The ammonia, some of the urea and amino acids excreted mainly through the ant sac, but some other nitrogenous compound and uric acid excreted by the other part of the green gland. And then the excreted fluid from the ant sac, it passes into the labyrinth, okay, where some of the useful material like some of the amino acids and ions are get reabsorbed by the blood, and the remaining fluid, which is also known as the urine, is passes into the bladder, and finally it is excreted out to the external environment through the renal pore. So this was about the excretory system of prawn. Now we will take the another representative of the mollusca system, that is the apple snail, Pila globosa. So today we'll also see the excretory system of snail or the Pila globosa. Okay, so in Pila, the excretory organ, okay, or the organ which is responsible for the removal of the nitrogenous waste from the body is known as an organ of Bojanius, or the renal organ or the kidney. Okay, so this is basically the structure of the organ of Bojanius or the renal organ inside the pila, which is looks, when you open the shell, you will find this type of structure. So this is basically the organ of Bojanius or the renal organ in pila is bilobular. Bilobular means it have two chambers. Okay, so this basically these two chambers forms the excretory system or the organ of Bojanius. This is the renal anterior renal chamber, and this is the posterior renal chamber. The anterior renal chamber is this small ovoid shaped, and the posterior renal chamber is large hook shaped. You see, this end of this chamber is hook like. Okay, this is pericardium, and this is the posterior chamber is in adjacent to the intestine. Okay, so basically this the organ of Bosana's, or we can say the excretory system, is bilobular in pila, means it have two chambers, the small anterior renal chamber and the large hook shape posterior renal chamber. Okay, so this communicates, this renal chamber communicates to two different chambers in the organism body. In one side it opens to the mantle cavity, and another side it is connected to the pericardial cavity. So this is basically the pericardium. Okay, this is the pericardium. Here it is attached with the so it has some connection with the pericardium. Basically the posterior renal chamber has the connection with the pericardium. Okay, and this anterior renal chamber, it has, this is the mantle cavity. Okay, so the anterior renal chamber have some of the connection with the your mantle cavity or a branchial cavity. Okay, so as I have told, the organ of Bosana's, or the renal organ in pila, has bilobular or the two distinct part. The anterior renal chamber, which is smaller as compared to the posterior renal chamber, which is hook shape. Okay, so here we see the structure in detail. Okay, well, it's this is position of this excretory organ inside the body cavity. You just see. So this is this red colored. Okay, this is anterior renal chamber, and this hooked shape is a posterior renal chamber, which is adjacent to the coiled intestine of the pila. And here this is the pericardium. Okay, this is the pericardia or the heart. This is the pericardium. So here you just see this posterior chamber have a one opening which connects with the pericardium. Okay, and this is the anterior renal chamber, which have one opening which connects to the mantle cavity. Okay, or the exterior. Okay, and then these two chambers, means these two chambers, posterior chamber and anterior chambers, they communicates to each other through one pore, which is known as an interrenal aperture. Okay, we'll see here. So as I have told, this organ of Bosana's, they have two chambers. The first we will take the renal, anterior renal chamber. Okay, so it is here we can see that. Yes, so we'll see here, it is in detail. So this anterior renal chamber, this is smaller in size, and it have the small lamellae. Okay, lamellae. So it's basically, its structure looks very similar to the gills. Okay, where what we see, the gill have the primary axis. Okay, and on the primary axis, okay, here is a lamellae. Okay, so what lamellae do in the gills? What is the function of lamellae in the gills? It basically increases the surface area. Okay, so here also it actually increases the surface area. Okay, but here they are renal lamellae, because here their function is excretory. Okay, so these are basically the lamellae which are from on the both side of this longitudinal axis. Okay, so this axis is basically the renal sinus, the afferent renal sinus and efferent renal sinus. Actually this chamber have both two sides, no, ventral side and the dorsal side. So on the ventral side पे जो आपका renal sinus है, that is known as the afferent renal sinus, और जो dorsal side पे जो आपका renal sinus है, that is known as the efferent renal sinus. So these two renal sinus, okay, they actually work as a longitudinal axis, और उसके दोनों, on both the side there is the attachment of the renal lamellae. So this lamellae basically increase the surface area. So what happened, it actually in this, in a small space, the more area for excretion. Okay, and this is here you can see that this is okay, this is a small renal pore. From this renal pore, this exterior chamber communicates to the mental cavity, means the urine, okay, or the excretory fluid, it comes to the mental cavity through this renal pore, and then it goes out from the uh, through the siphon, okay, uh, to the exterior environment. And then here is the posterior chamber. This posterior chamber is connected through the interrenal aperture. So this aperture actually makes the communication between the anterior and the posterior renal chamber. And this posterior renal chamber also have one small aperture which have the connection with the pericardium, okay, or the pericardial cavity. So this aperture is known as the renopericardial aperture. So through this aperture, this posterior renal chamber actually communicates with the pericardial cavity, and through this renal pore, the anterior chambers communicates with the mental cavity, and through this interrenal aperture, these two individual chambers of the excretory organ communicates with each other. Okay. So here you see the anterior renal chamber is a very small due to the presence of number of lamellae, which is known as a renal lamellae. They are arranged on each side along the thick axis. So on the dorsal side, it is known as the afferent renal sinus, and on the ventral side, it is known as the afferent renal sinus. Okay. Then there is a now this anterior renal chamber, when it communicates to the posterior renal chamber through this small opening, which is known as a interrenal aperture, and it communicates with the mental cavity through a small pore, which is known as a renal pore. Okay, so this is about the anterior renal chamber. Now the posterior renal chamber, as I have told, it is a broad large chamber as compared to the anterior renal chamber, and it's one and have the hook like shape. Okay, so this is basically a hook shaped broad posterior chamber which have the large internal cavity. Okay, it have the afferent and efferent vessels, okay, which have profound branchings, okay, on its profound blood vessel branching on its roof. Okay, and this chamber, it communicates with anterior chamber through the interrenal pore, and it communicates through pericardium through the renopericardial aperture. So here you see this is the detailed structure of the excretory system. This red color is anterior chamber. This is the afferent renal sinus. These red color are the renal lamellae. This is the renal pore, which basically the opening into the mental cavity. Okay. Then this is the hook shaped, sorry, this is the hook shaped posterior renal chamber, which have the afferent renal veins, okay, which have different profound branching. Okay, and then it, and these two chambers, means this chamber with this opens through the interrenal aperture, and this posterior chamber have the connectivity with the pericardial cavity through this renopericardial aperture. This is the position of the intestine coil. This is the pericardium. Here is the mental cavity or the branchial cavity. Okay, so this is the detailed anatomy of the excretory system of pila globosa. Okay, so now the mechanism of excretion. Okay, so as I have told, the renal organ, both this afferent and the anterior and the posterior chambers, okay, they simply remove the nitrogenous waste from the blood by the process of simple diffusion. Okay, so the nitrogenous waste, they are from the blood, they are diffused inside the chamber. Okay, so now this excretory fluid, it passes from the posterior renal chamber to the anterior renal chamber. So first the excretion takes place, excretion of the nitrogenous waste or removal of the nitrogenous waste takes place in the posterior large renal chamber. Then this fluid enters into the anterior renal chamber, where remaining removal of the excretory materials takes place, and then it is discharged into the mental cavity, okay, through the small renal pore, okay, and then finally it goes out to the exterior environment, or by the outgoing water current through the right siphon of the pila. Okay, so the one very important thing about the excretion of the or the nitrogenous waste in the pila is that this animal is ammonotelic as well as uricotelic. Okay, means when we have seen the fishes, when we have talked about the teleost, all the teleost are ammonotelic because they excrete the nitrogenous waste in the form of ammonia. When we talk about the birds, okay, they are uricotelic. They used to excrete the nitrogenous waste in the form of uric acid. Okay, when we talk about the your cartilaginous fishes, they are ureotelic because they used to excrete the nitrogenous waste in the form of urea. But here this pila, it have dual excretory mechanism. One, when this animal is in water, okay, it basically excrete the nitrogenous waste in the form of water soluble ammonia. Okay, and when it is on land, because it needs to conserve water when it is on land, so on land it excrete the nitrogenous waste in form of uric acid. Okay, so this is about the today's class on the excretion or the excretory system in the cell fishes. Okay,